You don't need another mood swing disguised as revelation. You don't need another emotional high that crashes by nightfall. You don't need one more spiritual truth that never makes it past the notebook. What you need is spiritual obedience. What you need is the courage to become unshakable. You've already tasted truth, but tasting is not enough. You must chew it daily, swallow it fully, and let it become the bone and blood of your walk. You say you want demonstration, but where is your discipline? You say you want manifestation, but do your mornings reflect it? Or do you only command the law when you feel inspired? That is not mastery. That is confusion. That is spiritual immaturity dressed in devotional language. I tell you the truth. The law only responds to consistency. It does not move because you are excited. It does not obey because you had a powerful insight. The law moves because you speak it and keep speaking it until every corner of your world surrenders to the word. You cannot walk in dominion with a tongue that only declares when convenient. You cannot manifest your divine inheritance with a rhythm that breaks every time emotion rises. You must become consistent, not because it is easy, not because it feels good, but because divine mind cannot flow through a fractured channel. The Spirit does not release its fullness into a vessel that leaks at the first sign of resistance. You must force yourself to be consistent, not by pressure, but by identity. You must declare, I am the one who finishes. You must say, I am the one who obeys even when I am tired, even when I feel nothing, even when results have not yet appeared. Why? Because law is loyal to the faithful, not the frantic, not the fascinated, not the fleeting, but the faithful. You are not waiting for more willpower. You are waiting to wake up to who you already are, a spiritual authority with command over your time, your mind, and your walk. And let me make it plain, your inconsistency is not a harmless habit. It is an agreement with the enemy of your destiny. Every time you abandon your word, you kneel to the illusion of defeat. Every time you skip the declaration, you give the old pattern another day of rule. And so I say, enough. Today we break that contract. Today we draw a line in spirit. Today we remember what the sun remembers every morning, to rise regardless of the clouds, to rise regardless of the night, to rise not because it is asked, but because it is its nature. So I ask you now, and I ask boldly, what would your life look like if you spoke the word every day without fail? What would happen if you refused to return to silence, to sloth, to self-betrayal? What would happen if for 14 days you acted as if you believed everything you've ever declared? I'll tell you what would happen. Your world would submit to your consistency. Your atmosphere would bow to your vibration. Your destiny would arrive because it could finally find a landing strip of rhythm. I say again, you do not consult your feelings. You obey your spirit. You do not wait for alignment. You declare alignment. You do not beg the law to move. You move, and the law rushes to meet you. This is your moment of return to rhythm, to power, to spiritual maturity. Welcome to consistency. Welcome to command. Spiritual law does not yield to moods. It does not bend to your bad day. It does not fluctuate based on how inspired you feel this morning. The law is exact. It is mechanical in its response. It is holy in its precision. You may sway, but it does not. You may pause, but it continues. And this is both your warning and your liberation. Because once you grasp this, you are no longer a prisoner of inconsistency. You are an enforcer of rhythm. You are no longer wondering if the law is working. You are working the law, not on Monday and forgetting on Tuesday, not in the morning and collapsing by evening, but daily, deliberately, without excuse. This is the law of rhythm. What you do consistently becomes your demonstration. What you declare repeatedly becomes your reality. What you ignore regularly becomes your bondage. Rhythm is the hidden force behind manifestation. You may plant the seed with a declaration, but it is consistency that waters it. It is spiritual obedience that tills the soil. It is daily application that brings the harvest. One prayer does not move mountains. One inspired morning does not birth your destiny. The mountain moves when you command it every day. The destiny appears when you declare it and do not depart from it. Let me speak plainly. Inconsistency is not harmless. It is disobedience in disguise. When you stop declaring, you stop commanding. When you break your rhythm, you break your agreement with the higher self. The subconscious mind does not respond to sporadic input. It only accepts what is repeated, what is believed, what is rhythmic. So when you affirm today and complain tomorrow, you create confusion. When you speak truth one week and fall silent the next, you delay your own breakthrough. The law is not punishing you. You are interrupting the transmission. You say, I know spiritual truth, but do you live it daily? You say, I believe in the power of the spoken word, but is your word spoken with rhythm, with force, with fidelity? The difference between the one who manifests and the one who waits is not knowledge. It is obedience. One commands, the other considers. One speaks the word as law, the other treats it as suggestion. Let me remind you of the scripture. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Not the occasional lifting, not the seasonal inspiration, the renewing, ongoing, daily, without end. This is not a metaphor, it is a mechanism. The word renewing in spirit means to replace old patterns with divine truth until they become permanent, to overwrite fear with faith until fear has no language left, to install identity until identity drives behavior and behavior becomes unshakable rhythm. You ask, why can't I stay consistent? But the better question is, what lie do I still serve? For if you knew that the law activates every time you speak, you would never fall silent. If you truly believed that your declaration sets form into motion, you would treat your word like fire. You would not miss a day. You would not skip a beat. You would not choose comfort over command. Because spiritual maturity is not measured by how much you know. It is measured by how faithfully you apply what you know, especially when you don't feel like it. When I say, force yourself to be consistent, I do not mean push through pain. I do not mean shame yourself into effort. I mean align with spirit so completely that inconsistency feels unnatural. I mean speak with such repetition that the mind cannot return to doubt. I mean install the vibration so deeply that you would sooner forget to breathe than forget to declare. This is the holy rhythm. This is the spiritual heartbeat. The universe itself is built on cycles, seasons, rotations. The stars do not forget their course. The tides do not forget their turning. All of creation is obedient to pattern, to order, to rhythm. And so must you be, not to prove worth, but to unlock it, not to earn your good, but to command it into form. The law does not respond to once. It responds to always, not to inspiration, but to identity. And when you become consistency itself, the world around you can no longer stay inconsistent. It must obey your rhythm. It must bow to your persistence. It must align with your unwavering declaration. So the next time you feel like skipping the word, remember, the law is still listening. The next time you feel like waiting for motivation, remember, the spirit waits on your movement, not your mood. And the next time you ask why nothing has shifted, ask yourself, have I been consistent enough to command the change? This is the truth. This is the pattern. This is the key. To walk in consistency, you must first break covenant with chaos. You must identify every agreement, spoken or unspoken, that keeps you loyal to disorder. Many of you speak the word of truth but live in the rhythm of delay. You declare, I receive, then drift back into old cycles. You start the 14-day challenge and end it by day 3. You say, I am disciplined, and return to distraction. This is not simply inconsistency. It is spiritual infidelity. You are cheating on your destiny with the past. But today we end the affair. Today we call inconsistency what it is, disobedience in slow motion. Today we declare a new alliance. Today we break the contract with failure and re-enter the covenant of rhythm. Say this aloud and say it with power. I now break covenant with the old self. This is not poetic. It is legal. In the court of spirit, your spoken word is binding. When you say this, you are severing spiritual ties with every mental pattern, every emotional reflex, every invisible saboteur that pulls you off track. You are not punishing the old self. You are releasing it. You are not fighting the old way. You are canceling its authority. The first law of spiritual training is presence. The second is pattern. Without presence, you are unaware. Without pattern, you are unstable. But when you build a spiritual pattern, you create momentum. You create gravitational pull. You create a new orbit. And once that orbit is established, it becomes easier to stay consistent than to fall off track. But it starts with day one, with the first flame of obedience, with the first hammer blow of repetition. So for the first 3 days of your reprogramming, you will begin each morning with 3 declarations. These are not options. These are not suggestions. These are spiritual bricks, and you must lay them every single morning, before you eat, before you check your phone, before you speak to another soul. These are your alignment. These are your anchor. These are your law. Day 1. Declaration. I do not skip divine law. You do not miss a day. You do not forget your power. You do not treat spiritual alignment as optional. Law is not a lifestyle. It is a lifeline. Just as you do not skip breath, you do not skip the word. Day 2. Declaration. I do not bend to emotion. Emotions are not your master. They do not determine your consistency. You may feel tired, overwhelmed, uninspired, but none of that matters in spirit. You are not led by emotion. You are led by covenant. When your feelings say rest, but your covenant says rise, you rise. When your mind says skip, but your soul says speak, you speak. This is what separates demonstration from delay. Day 3. Declaration. I obey the rhythm of spirit. The spirit moves in cycles, in timing, in rhythm, and you must match its beat. You do not race ahead with excitement. You do not lag behind with fear. You step in time. You keep the beat. You trust the pace. When you obey the rhythm of spirit, you become unshakable, because no matter what rises around you, your rhythm remains. Let me tell you of a woman who came to me, desperate. She had declared her good for 3 days and then stopped. It didn't feel like it was working, she said. I lost momentum. But the law was already moving. The invisible was already arranging. The form was already forming. But her inconsistency disrupted the pattern. The soil had been tilled, the seed was planted, but the watering stopped. And without watering, no seed survives. I told her, resume, return, declare again, obey again, and do not stop until the thing appears. She did. And within 2 weeks, the very thing she thought had passed her by arrived on her doorstep. So hear me. Your lack of consistency is not harmless. It is costly. You are not punished for skipping the word. You are simply disconnected from the current. But when you speak again, when you obey again, when you declare again, the power returns, not because God is moody, but because the law flows where the vessel is open and closes where silence reigns. So rise tomorrow. Speak these declarations. Do not wait until you feel ready. Do not wait until the atmosphere is right. Command the atmosphere. Rewrite the mood. And walk in obedience. Not because it's convenient, but because it is your nature. Consistency is not something you work toward. It is something you remember you were born to walk in. Now that you've broken covenant with the old self and installed the declarations of morning obedience, it is time to build your spiritual backbone, the structure that does not bend under the weight of tiredness, distraction, or delay. You do not build consistency by waiting for perfect conditions. You build it by becoming unmovable within. Consistency is not a behavior. It is your new identity. You must no longer say, I'm trying to stay consistent. You must declare, spiritual command is who I am. It is not what you do when you feel like it. It is what you become, until there is no version of you that falls back into silence, into sloth, into surrender. I now give you a spiritual protocol to stabilize your consistency. You will no longer drift between obedience and avoidance. You will no longer relapse into confusion. For the next 4 days, day 4 through day 7, you will practice this: micro commitments to divine law. Before each task, you will stop. You will center. You will declare one spiritual line. This micro command is the flame that keeps the altar lit. It is the breath that keeps the inner fire burning. You do not skip it. You do not say, "I'm too busy." You do not say, "I'll get to it later." You interrupt your task with truth. This is how you enforce rhythm, not by waiting for spiritual downloads, but by installing your authority into the rhythm of daily life. Here are your declarations for the next 4 nights. These are your closing statements. These are your sealant. Speak them every evening, before you sleep, after your work, no matter how the day went. Your consistency is not measured by success. It is measured by your faithfulness to the word. Day 4 declaration: I finish what I declare. Let this become your soul's signature. If you said you would speak abundance for 14 days, you finish it. If you said you would command wealth every morning, you obey. You do not start and abandon. You do not say and walk away. You follow the word all the way through until it becomes flesh. Day 5. Declaration: I speak my word until results appear, not until I get bored, not until it feels repetitive, not until doubt creeps in, until results appear. You are not here for entertainment. You are here for demonstration, and demonstration requires daily irrigation. The seed will not sprout unless you keep speaking. The manifestation will not land unless you keep preparing. Day 6. Declaration: I walk in rhythm, not in reaction. The world reacts. Spirit walks. The world is ruled by appearances, mood swings, panic. Spirit is ruled by rhythm, order, law. You are not here to chase emotions. You are here to maintain cadence. You are not here to be yanked around by appearance. You are here to govern the unseen with your word. Day 7. Declaration: I do not retreat from my own power. When you stop declaring, you retreat. When you choose silence over the word, you retreat. When you allow doubt to delay obedience, you retreat. But today, you draw your line in spirit. You say, I will not betray my own authority. You say, I will not abandon the law that moves mountains. You say, I will not let inconsistency steal another inch of my destiny. This is how the pattern forms, not through grand gestures, through daily obedience, through repeated declarations, through refusal to break the rhythm. And soon, yes, very soon, you will notice something shift, not outside, but within. You will feel yourself becoming a different being, a being who no longer debates with discipline, a being who no longer rationalizes delay, a being who no longer breaks covenant. Because the truth is, consistency is your birthright. You came from divine rhythm. You were formed by eternal law. There is nothing inconsistent in God, and there is nothing inconsistent in the God idea called you. All inconsistency is programming. All inconsistency is illusion. All inconsistency is a lie pretending to be your nature. But the moment you stop serving it, it dies, and you rise, consistent, clear, obedient, commanding, complete. Inconsistency is not a personality trait. It is a hypnotic pattern. It is a lie the subconscious has accepted through repetition, and now it must be broken with holy reversal. You do not reprogram the mind with therapy. You reprogram the mind with law. The subconscious does not respond to your excuses. It responds to what you repeat with conviction. If you speak defeat more often than dominion, the mind will automate defeat. If you say, I'll do it later, often enough, the mind will begin to default to delay. But if you begin to install new commands, it will yield, not with struggle, but with submission. The mind always obeys the most repeated voice. You must learn to hear the voice of sabotage. It is cunning. It speaks in familiar phrases. Just this once. I'll skip today, but I'll start fresh tomorrow. This one day doesn't matter. These are not random thoughts. They are anti-commands, spiritual viruses embedded to kill momentum. They wear the tone of compassion, but they carry the vibration of compromise. And every time you say yes to them, you reinforce a reality where inconsistency is permitted. Now we cancel them. Let me give you the phrases of sabotage and their divine replacements. The thought, I'll do it later. You cancel it. You say, I move without delay. I command now. The moment you say later, you delay demonstration. The moment you say now, you install immediacy. The spiritual realm responds to now, not eventually. The thought, it's okay to miss one day. You cancel it. You say, I do not break spiritual pattern, because one day becomes two, two becomes four, and suddenly your harvest withers from neglect. You wouldn't plant a garden and water it once a week. You wouldn't breathe only when you remember. So why treat your declarations as optional? You are not here for comfort. You are here for command. The thought, I'm tired. You cancel it. You say, my word does not sleep. Spirit does not get tired. Law does not pause. Supply does not slow down. You may rest the body, but the tongue must stay faithful. Even a whispered command shakes the heavens. You must train your mind like an athlete trains the body, with drills, with repetition, with commitment that overrides feeling. An athlete does not wait for inspiration to train. They train because they are building something invisible before it is seen, and you must do the same. You are building a temple of consistency, a fortress of rhythm, a palace of obedience that the law will dwell in. And when it is fully constructed, you will see demonstration after demonstration pour into it, because it finally has a place to land. So I give you this technique. Use it immediately when you hear the voice of the old self rise. The CRC formula, cancel, replace, command, cancel the thought aloud. I cancel that. Say it with fire. You are interrupting the broadcast. Replace it with truth. I am faithful in the invisible. I act whether I feel like it or not. I command the law through rhythm. Command the next step. I now speak my word. I now move in obedience. I now declare my wealth, my healing, my direction. Do not negotiate. Do not explain. Command. You are not here to argue with yourself. You are here to train your mind until it obeys your spirit. You are not here to analyze delay. You are here to override it. Remember, your subconscious mind is not evil. It is programmable. It was trained into inconsistency, and now it will be trained into dominion. The old grooves will be filled. The old defaults will dissolve. And in their place will rise a mind that expects obedience, expects rhythm, expects to act in perfect timing, because the spirit has taken full authority over the mental field. And the moment that happens, your world will change, not in random flashes, but in sustained demonstration. Because what you do daily determines what you see consistently, and what you enforce mentally becomes what you experience materially. So today, begin the mental drills. Hear the lie. Cancel it. Replace it. Command the new step. This is how consistency becomes automatic. This is how law becomes your rhythm. This is how demonstration becomes your daily reality. Consistency becomes your identity the moment you stop relying on emotion and begin relying on rhythm. The world has taught you to wait for motivation. Spirit teaches you to move without it. The world has taught you that if it doesn't feel good, it isn't aligned. Spirit teaches you that faithfulness is alignment. You are not here to be tossed by the waves of your inner weather. You are here to command the sea with the rod of your word. And that word must be spoken daily, not just when it is easy, but especially when it is not. The enemy of consistency is not laziness, it is hesitation. That moment when your mind presents an option to delay. That sliver of time when the subconscious whispers, maybe later. That is where demonstration dies, in the micro hesitations, the half-second decisions that shift you from command into compromise. But I tell you, you must remove the option of delay altogether. You must build a new inner law that says, when I speak it, I move. When I declare it, I obey. When I start, I finish. Let us now install new thoughts. Let us overwrite the excuses. These are not affirmations to inspire you. These are directives to program you. Say aloud, I move without motivation. This cancels the belief that feelings are required for faithfulness. You are not a machine run by emotional fuel. You are a vessel governed by divine order. Spirit does not consult your mood before moving mountains. Neither should you consult yours before moving in obedience. Say, I act without waiting. You are not waiting for clarity. You are not waiting for a sign. The sign is your desire. The clarity is in your command. The action is the portal through which Spirit confirms your path. As Scripture declares, faith without works is dead. Do not wait to feel worthy. Do not wait to feel prepared. Move as one who has already received. Say, I am faithful in the invisible. This is the key to all demonstration. The invisible is not empty, it is active. The form is already forming, but it appears only to those who stay consistent long enough to see it take shape. The world may call this grind, but in spirit we call it obedience to the unseen. We call it trust that knows law is exact. We call it walking as one who knows the word is already accomplished. Let me give you a metaphor. You are a spiritual athlete, and the arena is the unseen realm. Every declaration is a representative. Every consistent morning is a lap. Every command spoken without feeling is a weight lifted in the gym of demonstration. The more you train, the less the old patterns can grip you. The more you act without emotion, the more your subconscious accepts that this is who you are now. You must understand, the law is loyal to identity, not to flashes of inspiration, not to spiritual highs, not to bursts of enthusiasm, but to the consistent identity of one who commands and does not retreat. And you are becoming that person, not by hoping, but by repeating, by enforcing, by speaking until your vibration becomes your reality. So here is your new command sequence. Say these aloud each day, especially when the mind wavers. I do not skip, I declare. I do not delay, I move. I do not retreat, I reinforce. My obedience is my power. My rhythm is divine. My word is my discipline. You are not disciplining yourself by force. You are aligning yourself by truth. You are not punishing the body. You are programming the spirit-mind connection. You are enforcing a vibration that overrides every past version of you. And that is what brings demonstration, not emotional energy, not scattered willpower. Daily, rhythmic, sacred repetition of your identity as one who obeys divine law without break. There is no need to ask, how do I stay consistent? You already know. You choose it every hour. You declare it before thought has a chance to interrupt. You say, I am the one who moves in spirit whether I feel like it or not. And the moment that becomes your automatic response, your world changes. Not because you suddenly became holy, but because you became rhythmic. And in spirit, rhythm is holiness. Repetition is reverence. Daily action is divine alignment. You no longer need to force yourself. You have become the force, the spiritual rhythm that bends reality, the consistent word that creates form, the law in motion, through your mouth, through your walk, through your will. Now comes the moment where all your knowledge becomes covenant, where every truth you've remembered is forged into a vow. You do not need more teachings. You need a contract. You need a line drawn in spirit that cannot be crossed by the old self again. This is not about feeling strong. This is about becoming law-abiding in your soul. You are not here to dabble in transformation. You are here to command it. And I say this now with the full weight of divine authority. For the next 14 days, you will obey your word without fail. This is not a suggestion. This is not a motivational challenge. This is your re-entry into spiritual order, into rhythm, into divine consistency. For 14 days, You will speak your declarations whether you feel like it or not. You will wake and declare before you touch your phone. You will pause mid-task and enforce the truth. You will close the night not with scrolling, but with the word. You will not apologize to the old self. You will not explain to others. You will simply obey. Each morning, before the world gets a chance to speak to you, you will command the day. You will say, I command the day to obey divine law. My rhythm is unbreakable. My supply is guaranteed. At midday, whether in silence or in motion, you will declare, I do not drift. I return to the word. I hold the vibration. I complete the rhythm. This is your anchor. This is your recentering. This is how you snap out of confusion and back into command. Each night, no matter what has unfolded, you will close your day with, I finish what I declared. I have obeyed today. And because I have, demonstration is now inevitable. You will not speak try. You will not say hope. You will say I do. You will say I obey. You will say I finish. And if the voice of hesitation rises, you will laugh in its face and say, I am not available for disobedience anymore. You see, consistency is not about your personality. It is about your programming. And for 14 days, you are reprogramming your soul to only recognize rhythm, to only answer to law, to only respond to truth. And when you do, your world will begin to recognize you, not as someone who dabbles, but as someone who commands, not as someone who collapses, but as someone who completes. Let me give you your identity now. Say this. I am the finisher of my word. I do not skip spirit. I do not break my rhythm. I am the one the law follows because I follow through. No more just starting. No more spiritual spurts. No more collapsing in the middle. You are not an emotional event. You are a spiritual system, a divine pattern, a walking, speaking, commanding, creating rhythm of heaven on earth. And for the next 14 days, that is what you enforce. And beyond those 14 days, it won't feel like effort anymore. It will feel like breathing, because you will have remembered the truth that was always buried beneath the lie of inconsistency. You were made to finish. You were born to obey. You are the embodiment of divine rhythm made flesh, and nothing will stop a soul who refuses to break their own word. Now let us speak the fire into the field. Let us send the word like arrows into the subconscious until every cell of your being remembers who you are. These declarations are not encouragement. They are enforcement. They are your hammer, your sword, your morning and your midnight. Speak them aloud, slowly, rhythmically, with the full weight of authority. For every line is a reversal of delay. Every phrase is a code that reinstalls your covenant. Say this, I do not delay my own destiny. You will no longer permit time to be stolen by indecision. You will no longer call waiting wisdom when it is really fear. Your destiny is not held back by the world. It is only waiting for your consistent instruction. Say this, I obey before I understand. You no longer require comfort before command. You no longer wait for signs or confirmation. You move because the Spirit says move. You speak because the law says speak. You declare because heaven only responds to the faithful. Now say, my consistency is divine expression. It is not willpower, it is worship. Every time you declare without feeling, you are praising the law. Every time you obey the word instead of the mind, you are honoring your Creator. Consistency is your daily amen to the covenant. Say this, my word is law, and I enforce it daily. Not occasionally, not emotionally, daily. You speak your supply, you declare your healing, you command your direction, and the law follows your rhythm, not your panic. Now declare, I do not start and stop, I rise and walk. You no longer stumble from burst to burst. You are not one who flashes and fades. You are sunrise, not lightning. You are rhythm, not reaction. You are command in motion. And now the final line, let it seal your soul. Let it end the era of collapse. Let it become your signature for all creation to recognize. The law follows me because I am faithful to it. This is your new reality. This is your divine rhythm. This is your consistency, and with it, nothing can be denied you. If this word struck your spirit like a bell that cannot be unrung, if it awakened the part of you that has slept too long in the bed of delay, then I ask you now, do not walk away unchanged. This was not a motivational message. This was a spiritual realignment, a divine remembrance, a sacred interruption of your inconsistency. And now the law waits, not on your emotion, not on your inspiration, but on your instruction. So give it. Leave your mark. Speak in the comments, not for me, but for you. Declare your covenant publicly. Write, I obey divine law daily. Write, I am the finisher of my word. Write whatever line burned most deeply into your being. When you write it, you don't just anchor it, you activate it, you carve it into consciousness. You begin the next 14 days not with a thought, but with a testimony. And if this space feels like the sanctuary of your spirit, stay close. Subscribe, not out of habit, but out of rhythm. Let this channel be your upper room. Let each video be your daily water, your daily fire, your daily discipline. For those who remain in truth will walk in demonstration. This is not the season to wander. This is the season to install your destiny with precision. And if you found a voice that trains you in law, in rhythm, in identity, honor that voice by returning. But more than anything, show up tomorrow. Speak your word before anything else. Command your day before the world gets a chance to shape it. Midday, return to the rhythm. Redeclare, realign, reinforce. At night, don't scroll your way to sleep. Seal your day with a final declaration. Walk with rhythm, and the law will walk with you. You don't need to wait to become consistent. You already are. Your nature is order, your origin is law, your essence is divine rhythm, and the voice you obey most will shape the next season of your life. So choose your voice, and let it be your own. Spoken in rhythm, spoken in fire, spoken in truth, and so it is.